This morning I'm reminded of those bad jokes that begin, I have good news and I have bad news. Well, the good news today is that our government would like to restart the economy. The bad news is we're not sure if it will work. Once again, my email goes crazy. Everyone has an opinion to share with me on why or why not this will work, and others want to tell me why it's wrong or what it's right. Can I toss my opinion into the fray? Just breathe. Breathe. I guess I have a reputation for liking some of the old songs. The truth is more that I simply remember them. And by the way, that's evidence that singing and worship actually help us to remember the teachings that we've received. Well, this is a really old one, and I have to skip some lines to make my point. Here it is. Far away, the noise of strife upon my ear is falling. Doubt and fear and things of earth in vain to me are calling. None of these shall move me from Beulah land. Far below, the storm of doubt upon the world is beating. Sons of men in battle long the enemy withstand. Safe am I within the castle of God's word retreating. Nothing then can reach me. 'Tis Beulah land. Let the stormy breezes blow, their cry cannot alarm me. I am safely sheltered here, protected by God's hand. I'm living on the mountain, underneath the cloudless sky. I'm drinking from the fountain that never shall run dry. Oh yes, I'm feasting on the manna from a bountiful supply, for I am dwelling in Beulah land. If you can get past the Old English, you will hear that this is a song of faith. In this world, we have constant barrages of voices telling us that we should worry, to have doubt, to have fear. And the world itself is in a storm. They don't know what tomorrow will bring, and so there is rightfully fear. The people battle against fear. But the songwriter says, safe am I within the castle of God's word. I am safely sheltered here, protected by God's hand. I am safe forever in Beulah land. As kids, we used to wonder and even laugh over the title of this hymn, Beulah land. What is that? Well, it actually comes from a passage of the prophet Isaiah. It's Isaiah chapter 62. And it's a promise to God's people. God says to his people through the prophet, no longer will they call you deserted or name your land desolate, but you will be called Hephzibah and your land Beulah. For the Lord will take delight in you. As a bridegroom rejoices over his bride, so will your God rejoice over you. The translators had some problems knowing exactly what to do with these four words, deserted, desolate, Hephzibah, and Beulah. They're actually proper names, but they also have a meaning. What the prophet is saying here, or better, what God is promising, is that you will no longer be called the forsaken city or the desolate land. Your new name will be the city of God's delight and the bride of God. Simply put, the prophet is telling us God will take care of you. God has it all in control. You can calm down. Just breathe. You are not forsaken. You are not alone. You are in his hands. He is delighting over you. It's interesting to me how many of us like to play ball with God. We throw, or as Peter says, we cast our anxiety to him. And then we ask him, toss it back so that we can have it a little while longer. Maybe we juggle it in our hands, we worry over it, we fret a little bit, and then we realize, well, this doesn't belong to me, it's God's, and we toss it back to him. only to wait a little while and then ask him to give it back so we can worry some more. Is that really what God has for us? May I ask you this morning, where are you living today? Are you living like you're in a desert, or like you're deserted, or like you're going to be left desolate? Or are you under a cloudless sky? May I suggest that you pause for a moment and breathe? As the writer says, retreat into the safety of God's word and God's promises. Mark records for us in his gospel one of those times where the disciples were caught in a storm on the Sea of Galilee. It's in Mark chapter 4, and there's just two things that I notice. First, I noticed that they were not alone. Mark records that there were other little boats also with them. Sometimes we see our own situation and we fail to realize that there are others going through the same difficulties. The question is, are we being an example, a help, or are we just adding to the difficulties? The second thing that I notice is that Jesus was asleep. And the disciples ask if this means that he did not care. What they were missing is that he was just not worried. Today, Jesus is not worried. He knows that we are not deserted. We are not alone. Not only does God care, you are his delight. He rejoices over you and has good things in store for you. Just breathe. Far below, the storms of doubt upon this world are beating. Let the stormy breezes blow. Their cry cannot alarm me. I am safely sheltered here, protected by God's hand.